Thomas, it's up for grabs now! Thomas!
Magic ball from Bergkamp to Patrick Vieira!
Oh, would you believe it? Oh, right, what a way to get it!
Fabulous solo goal by Thierry Henry.
Champions.
Good evening, everybody. A very, very warm welcome to you all joining us in the Arsenal Lounge this evening. Just before we start, as I've been doing for the past few weeks, I'd like to start by sending our thoughts and prayers to my fellow Iranians in Iran who are going through a difficult time. Lev, what's up, man? You good?
Good. Yeah, I'm good. Thank you. Thank you for asking. Oh, just enjoying the way we're playing at the moment. Enjoying being an Arsenal fan. Enjoying being here with the handsome Shaheen and Mo himself, of course, the esteemed Mo.
Just Mo, handsome Shaheen, and just Mo.
Esteemed Mo, I said.
Fair.
Right.
That's not what I've done now. I've dug myself a hole already.
Yeah. Mo? I think Mo is frozen.
He's upset. Look, he's not talking to me now.
Yeah, I think Mo is frozen. We'll wait for Mo to make a return. What are you drinking, Lev?
I'm drinking kombucha, Shaheen. Kombucha. It's fermented tea.
What's that?
It's fermented. I shouldn't be advertising on here anyway. It's just kombucha. It's fermented tea. It's a fizzy drink. It's good for your stomach. All that jazz.
All right. All that jazz, yeah?
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So
listen, Tom is not around this week. He has got a personal engagement that he is attending to, so he is not going to be joining us. It's just us and Lev and Mo shortly.
Just me and Shaheen.
Yeah, right. Mo is frozen out, so you'll be back in a bit. So where should we start, Lev?
Start where you
by
want.
the way, just before we start, can everybody please hit the like button and tell us where you're watching from? So put on a comment.
This is your new thing, isn't it? Like I see people.
It's interesting.
I'm from Australia. I'm from here.
Yeah,
this
look, we've got the usuals. We've got Nav, Mike.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, we've got.
I love the fact that you're putting them up and they're putting
Arsenal,
sweet munchkin up on the screen.
Sahil.
Where's Mo to see this?
Mo is going to come back. We've got
Sweet Munchkin's been putting you some more messages, by the way.
Has it? I haven't seen anything.
Yeah, I should have.
So just let us know, guys, where you're watching from, and please make sure you hit the like, subscribe to Arsenal Lounge, subscribe to Mo's channel, and Mo, what happened, man?
I have no idea, man.
I thought you got the hump with me because I didn't call you handsome, and then you just went off. Yeah,
don't worry about that. That's not a problem. I don't know what happened. I was chatting away, and then you guys were like, "Oh, he's frozen." I was like, "What? What's going on?" So I was talking to myself for a while. It's all right.
Yeah, you was.
Anyway, we start again. How are you? You good?
I am good. Yeah, I'm not too bad. Just loving life. You know, I got exactly what I wanted this weekend, and that was not just a result, but a performance. And I can't wait to talk about it. So much to talk about.
Yeah, we're definitely going to get into that. Do you know what? We might as well start with Lev. Just give us briefly your thoughts on the. Should we go back and touch on the PSV game as well, or no?
Do we really want to? Well, we could touch on it if you want.
You know what? We'll leave it at the end because we'll come back to talk about Europa League. So we'll touch on PSV as well. So Lev, give us your thoughts on the game.
Firstly, before I start, Mo, while you were gone, you missed a classic. He went to put up who was actually putting messages up on the chat board, and he was putting these messages up, and everyone was putting "Sweet Munchkin" in capital letters on the top. You missed it. It was brilliant. You can look back at it later on. Anyway,
but wait, not anyway. Let's get the Sweet Munchkin saga done nice and early this week. Yeah.
Okay.
Has there been any contact from Sweet Munchkin?
Yes. She's been putting more messages in. I should have clicked them. I didn't. But the update is basically she's professing her love for him now.
Okay.
Yeah. And she's fighting his corner. When people say negative, you get the odd negative comment. We don't really get many. And I think a lot of it is just to try and get Shaheen to bite. I think they're tongue-in-cheek comments. But she's been fighting his corner and sticking up for him.
That's exactly what you want from your other half, right? That unconditional love and support. That's nice.
Yeah.
When you guys are done, we can go back to talking about the game. Yeah.
Not done just yet.
Whenever you're ready, when you both feel that you got it out of you, and you all cool, and it's all done. You got it out of your system.
We're still going.
We can go
If you don't mind,
what we're here for.
We're still talking about it. If you can just hold off a second.
Yeah,
So,
go on.
are we any closer to lining up this date?
At the moment, no. We're stuck in negotiations. Contract talks have stalled at the moment.
Fine.
That's all I can say on this matter right now.
Okay.
Yeah. Well,
Cool.
More to come. Watch this space. Anyway, the game.
You satisfied? You both satisfied that you done your bit for today? Yeah.
For now,
You
yeah.
can crack on with it now, yeah.
And people in the chat, keep an eye out. Sweet Munchkin watch. Let us
If
know
it wasn't such a good win for Arsenal, I think we would have spent more time on this segment.
Yeah.
But
it's
seeing as Arsenal, so much to talk about, we're going to have to cut it short. But next week, we'll do half.
No, that means we might have a bad performance. No, let's hope we've just still got great things to talk about in the Chelsea game as well.
True,
anyway, moving forward with the game. The game itself, I was lucky enough to be at the game. A friend of mine wasn't going and sorted me out tickets, so I went. I have to say, it was the first half. I didn't get the impression like a 5-0 result was coming from that first half. I'll be honest with you, right? We started very quickly. Then we started to go into having looked like we should have destroyed them in the first 10-15 minutes. We sort of come off the gas a little bit, and we started sort of letting them back in the game a tad. And we were thinking, what's going on here? It did get like that for a while. Started to worry: is it going to be like the old Arsenal where we don't finish teams off early and they come back and bite us in the arse and it's 1-1 and you drop points when you really shouldn't have? And then when Saka came off, we were worried because let's all be honest here, right? As fans, none of us expected a huge sort of change in events due to the introduction of Reece Nelson. We've all seen Reece before, and we've all said it. Can't see what the hype's about, but lo and behold, the lad's come on. Right, he's added a little bit of impetus into the game. He's actually gone for it. He's shown a hunger to actually grab the opportunity. Before that, Gabriel had a ridiculous lapse moment.
Oh man,
he gave the ball away.
He was so lucky.
It gave the ball. It was so bad. And again, you could say it. He's had a great game other than that. But some reason, he switched off for a second. There was
a couple of times left that he
a bad ball to Lingard. Oh, my God.
You know what? I was thinking about this, at the time, and I was just trying to think, what was he trying to do?
Yeah, the pass was so off.
There was nothing that I could think of.
Yeah.
You basically putting it on the plate for somebody.
Yeah,
striker's putting that away.
It was pure madness, and Janine, that's exactly kind of what I was saying as well. That it was just a complete sort of brain fart moment. Sometimes
it was.
Even like you might underhit a back pass, striker will go in round the keeper and score a goal, but you know what the defender was trying to do. You can see they were trying to do the right thing, but this literally, he just lost his brain cells for a second there.
Yeah,
literally rolling it to the edge of the 6-yard box was madness.
Yeah, it was
worrying.
It really did, and it made me worry. But then, as I was saying, like it kicked into the second half, and then Reece Nelson suddenly just came to life. And to be fair to the lad, all right, the type of finish that I'm used to seeing from a Reece Nelson was that first strike. You would expect a top player to put that away, having done the hard work. He sold the defender. The defender slid across. You think this is it? He's got to put that away. And that finish initially was Reece Nelson finish. But then he got another chance. And this time I'm hoping it changes his fortunes. Sometimes someone just needs a change of luck. Put the second opportunity away well. Then the second goal he scored, he won that ball from the beginning. He won that ball first. He brought it down. Great little touch. Rid a challenge, got the ball off for the transition, set the play away, and then he was there for that goal as well. He came in, wanted it more than anybody else. I think it was overall great performance. I'm happy. Partey's goal was amazing. Yeah. We're a totally different team with Partey in it. Without Partey, we just look a shadow of ourselves as well.
There was a couple of times that Partey gave the ball away as well in the middle.
Yeah,
Yeah, in the first half, he was actually quite sloppy. I don't think him and Ødegaard had a good game in the first half.
No, I don't think so. No.
But they had brilliant games in the second half. So that was kind of the saving grace. And also, you're lucky we're at home to Nottingham Forest. You can afford to have a bad half, or not even a bad half, but not a good half, and get away with it as long as the half that you have where you're playing well, you make things count. Ødegaard, he did brilliantly for the Reece Nelson goal. Partey obviously scored an amazing goal and actually played a part in Reece Nelson's goal as well with that brilliant through ball. So on balance, they got away with some of their wastefulness, but when they were on point, it mattered. So you got to give them that credit.
Yeah, all of this and no Jesus goal.
Yeah, I'm going to come to that. I agree with your assessment of the game as well. And I think second half, we stepped it up. And at the same time, I think Forest kind of dropped a couple of levels second half as well. So at the same time that we stepped it up, they dropped a couple of levels, which helped. There was some signs in that. I agree with Mo that I don't think Ødegaard had the best of games. I was not impressed at all with Fabio Vieira when he came on. Maybe it's just a one-off. I think second half was a lot better. But going back to every game that we played, we're doing these shows on Monday, and every week we find ourselves talking about one mistake that Gabriel made. And we all know that he's got that in him. And, Thomas Partey giving the ball away, it was a little bit sloppy at times. For example, you can't go to Stamford Bridge and play like that. If you go to Stamford Bridge and play a ball like what you did across back of, you put it in a 6-yard box, they've got, if Aubameyang is there, he's finishing that. If Sterling is there, probably is finishing that. So these are the things that are keep reoccurring themselves. And we always known that Gabriel's got that moment in him to cause some concern and uncomfortable moments for supporters. It's been a while that we've had a 5-0 win, no?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's our biggest win this season. In fact, the last time I can remember winning a game by these sorts of scorelines was in pre-season. Don't know if you recall.
This sort of score mode. It's just the way we won it. It was very dominant, very comfortable. We could have and we should have scored more goals.
Yeah, but I think there has to be a bit of context here. When you look at the Premier League table, before this game, Nottingham Forest were bottom. They hadn't scored they've only scored a single goal away from home in 6 Premier League games before this game. Now, obviously, 7 games played for them away from home. They have not won a single one. They've mustered 2 draws, 1 goal. It was inevitable. We all predicted wins. I think with us four, with Tom, our predictions were 2-0, 3-0, 4-0, and a 3-1 or something like that.
Who said 4-0? Tom, I think, didn't he?
Tom said 4-0, yeah.
It was
Thank God for that last goal.
Oh, no, I was well chuffed about that last goal.
But, if there ever was going to be a 5-0 at home, you'd expect it to be against the team bottom of the Premier League, the one that can't do anything away from home. But ultimately, not every game that Nottingham Forest have played away from home this season has ended up in a 5-0 battering. So you have to also give Arsenal the credit. But I think one statistic that I came across that I found really interesting is that when you look at the first 15 minutes of the first half and the first 15 minutes of the second half, there's no team that has scored more goals than Arsenal in the league in either one of those 15-minute segments. So Arsenal, clearly, for me, this is a manager-led thing. We come out all guns blazing and we really hit people hard. So with that, there's probably going to be a drop-off. If the manager's saying, I want you to go hard, I want you to catch them cold right at the start of the halves, then we might fall into a bit more of a rhythm after that first 10, 15 minutes. So we will view that as fans as a bit of a drop-off. But it all depends how you want to structure your game and how you want to plan your intense passages of play. What Mikel Arteta's doing, clearly it's working. He's obviously saying to the players, I want that high intensity that you can't keep up for the entire 90 minutes. But he's picking that moment in the first 15 minutes of halves, and it's working for us really, really well. Because I think we're 5-0 at home in terms of those 15-minute segments. And then I think it's like 8-2 or 8-3 away from home. No team has scored more goals than either, and we sit at the top of the table. And when you look at this Nottingham Forest game, when did we do all the damage? Right at the start of the first half, right at the start of the second half.
Yeah.
So the reason I'm mentioning that is because when we talk about Arsenal dropping off and Nottingham Forest coming into the game and stuff, we also need to bear that in mind. But I do think that Arsenal also became very, very sloppy in the first half. And that's where we spoke about Thomas Partey, who on balance had a great game, but in the first half at times gave the ball away repeatedly, needlessly, in dangerous areas, lack of concentration, and we became very, very sloppy. But when you win 5-0, wherever there's a criticism, there's probably going to be an equal and opposite element of praise that you have to give, because ultimately you've gone and bossed it. You've won the game 5-0. So where we're criticizing Gabriel for a pass rolled into the 6-yard box and put the chance on a plate for Jesse Lingard.
What a block, by the way.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
It was Ben White, wasn't it?
It was brilliant.
Praise. Because if someone else didn't step up and keep that clean sheet, that would have been a goal. So Ben White threw himself in front of that amazing block. He had a good game all game as well. So we have to give Ben White that praise. And also, you look at the fact that we ended up in the first half being quite sloppy. That was in around the 40th minute, I think. And we could have gone into half-time 1-1. Clearly, Mikel Arteta, whatever he said, whatever messages he gave to the team, that stuck. He saw the need for the team to ramp up that intensity again, came out the blocks immediately. I felt the crowd getting a bit more nervous, getting a bit frustrated with the way we ended the half after how we started it. But then that didn't allow itself to sort of marinate in the stadium. It was just put to bed with goal, done. Yeah. Everyone was enjoying themselves after that. So, like I say, equal and opposite praise of the sloppiness goes to the manager for, saying the right things and getting through to his players at half time.
Yeah, 100%. I think this season is very difficult to criticize Mikel Arteta. I've been pleased with what he's done. I've criticized him heavily last season. And it's quite opposite of last season so far. So it is difficult to criticize someone who's doing really well. Lev, there's a few things I'd like to discuss on the games, and I'll start with you. This thing it all started from the Liverpool game, and everybody was baffled. Are we still a little bit confused as to why Tomiyasu is starting at the left back and Kieran Tierney's on the bench? Or we're now seeing why? Because from my point of view, I'm still not sure why is this happening. I mean, Kieran Tierney is not a quality or a caliber of a player that you think Tomiyasu is way better than him at left back. So I don't know what your thoughts is on this.
Well, it's an interesting one, isn't it? Because when I got to the ground, everyone was asking the same question. Why are we still not playing Tierney on the left-hand side? Right? Why is Tomiyasu still coming in? And in the last game, Tomiyasu did look a little bit suspect in that position, didn't he? We weren't sure. But there's one of the theories I heard when I was at the ground from a few guys there is they've heard, apparently, I don't know how true this is. When you hear one of those stories. But one of the theories is they're really being careful with nursing Tierney back. And his injury was pretty bad. And they don't want him to have a relapse. So Premier League being what it is, they're giving him games via Europa, which is less physically demanding for now. And at the same time, hence solving a problem they got with Tomiyasu at the moment as well, because he's obviously can't. We discussed this last week. Ben White is undroppable at the moment. Again, that game he played against Forest, he was bossing everything. And you know what? I was looking at him and the way he was he was physical, he was commanding, he wouldn't let anyone sort of get too comfortable. You can't drop him.
So he's one of those players that has really stepped up this season, isn't
he? And I thought this through, and it potentially could be a good point, because at the end of the day, Tierney was coming back, then he was getting injured again, coming back, getting injured again. He is getting minutes, so via Europa. So for now, he's okay. I guess it's one of them. You can't really knock it right now. We can't question it when Arteta's getting the right results. The time people will really start questioning it is if he's doing it and it's costing us games or he's losing. But right now, you can't really argue it. And Tommy had a good game against Forest. He looked much more assured. The other thing I thought of is when you play a right-sided player on the left, one thing it does counter is an inverted winger. So somebody coming in like a Saka wants to cut in on his left. Because he's naturally right-footed himself, he can cope with that more. He can cope with someone trying to cut in. So maybe decisions, we'll have to look at it more, but decisions might be made in the sense of, is that a lefty playing on the right? If so, let's get Tomiyasu in to stop that guy cutting in and shooting. You know, that might work. It's quite a smart move. So I mean, that's one of the things I heard. It's something you could, you know, I'd like to hear from everyone in the chats.
What's your opinion on it?
Well, do you know what? Actually, it's quite rare that
hold on, Lev. Sorry, Mo. Lev, I'm asking, what's your opinion on it?
Right.
Sorry, you heard on the ground.
Well, my opinion on it is right now, we've got to wait and see. We've got to wait and see. Look, one other thing I'd like to throw in as well before Mo comes in as well, because I really want to hear what he has to say about this. But let's be honest right now. When you look at Tierney, he's not the Tierney that we're used to seeing, is he? He's not the finished article, is he? He's not as sharp as some could argue. He needs game time to achieve it, but he's getting game time right via Europa. He's not the assured Tierney that we used to see. So maybe there's something in it, is what I'm saying. There might be something. It's the only thing I can think of right now that makes any sense.
Yeah. So the same point, obviously, I'll bring that to you, but I just like to add something to it as well. How do you think? I mean, we don't know the inside and outside of what's being said, what's going on, but how would Kieran Tierney is probably dealing with all of this?
Well, it all depends. I think I was just about to say, it's quite rare that I think to myself, oh, I'm not sure why the manager's doing this. And then someone presents a theory where it's sort of like penny drops. And I think, actually, that makes perfect sense. But what Lev just outlined with the managing Tierney's injuries, actually, I think to myself, that makes absolute sense to me. I think even Kieran Tierney would be on board with that. Because if the manager said to Kieran Tierney last season, look, you know, you might not be 100%, or we know this is recurring, but I need to play you. Kieran Tierney being Kieran Tierney, he's the sort of guy that you can imagine just saying like, yep, fine, I'll do what the team needs. But actually on this occasion, if he's saying, look, we've got a bigger squad, we've got good cover, you will still get minutes, but this way we can manage your injuries. And if it means that you have like 6 months of managed game time in order to make sure this doesn't recur, I think Tierney would be absolutely on board with that plan. Because can you imagine how frustrating it is for Kieran Tierney getting injured week in, week out, and having to play with injuries and needing surgeries and stuff? No one wants that. So if a manager's saying to him, we're top of the league, we're top of our Europa League group, you know, we're gonna need you in that second half of the season where I think games are coming thick and fast. We've got FA Cup, Carabao Cup, Europa League, Premier League, you know, after the World Cup and injuries and this and that. And the manager's assuring of that. Actually, I think that could absolutely be the case. And I would fully support Mikel Arteta. It's just that, you know, I was asking the question myself on my own content, TT or KT, which one should we be starting? But I think, Lev, you've actually helped me out big time, because it makes perfect sense. It really does make perfect sense.
I'd like to say you heard it here first on the Arsenal Lounge. Thank you.
Whoever it was that told you that, then give them my thumbs up, because I think that's really.
You got to know these people. You got to know these people.
Listen, I hope it is what you guys are saying, and I hope it's not something that is not a Leno situation where, you know, comes January or summer transfer window, we're looking to sell Kieran Tierney because he's not really fancying him.
But I just want to say as well that as fans, like, we're very quick at times to come up with like the juicy, problematic reason why something might be happening. For example, like with this Tierney thing, I saw on Twitter some people suggesting that, oh, is it another Ozil situation, for example? Now, I can't remember what account that came from, but I thought to myself, it's a bit of a strange take, because Tierney seems like such a good guy, such a professional, humble guy. I wouldn't imagine a manager having a problem with him as a person. Tactically, yes. Form, yes. Fitness, yes, but not him as a person. So I thought, that's a bit strange. So it's refreshing, actually, to come up with a theory like what Lev has just presented that actually makes a lot of sense, but isn't like that juicy, you know, controversial one. It just makes a lot of footballing sense.
Do you know what? And as a player,
well done for Lev, wasn't it?
as a player, you would respect your manager more if he cares that much about your rehabilitation, right? Because it's your career at the end of the day. He could be selfish. It's happened to players at Arsenal in the past. The likes of your Jack Wilsheres were brought back too quickly, in my opinion, and weren't protected enough because we didn't have enough cover. And I'm glad this has happened. I mean, look at Ramsey's injury record as well before. So at the end of the day, if it is the case, then obviously Tierney would, Mo rightly said, Tierney would be like fully behind it. Yeah, I'll play in the Europas for now, Gaffer. The minute I'm back and ready and I'm feeling 100%, I want to be back in, So that's what you want.
Very good, Lev.
And no saying second-hand information, yeah. If you don't want me to tell you next time, I won't. I'll keep it to myself. There you go.
Guys, please don't say that. It took about a year and a half, 2 years, 2 seasons of doing podcasts for Lev to come out with some proper comments. So don't please upset him.
Useful.
Don't say anything negative. Listen, give him encouragement so he can continue the form.
Give him encouragement.
We're all proud of you, my son.
Thanks, guys.
Well done.
Absolutely. Finally, Lev came good.
I'll come to you with Lev with this one because me and you had a conversation about this last week on a phone call we're having, and then we'll discuss this on the show as well. There was a game where Gabriel Jesus had a couple of opportunities where he should have scored. Again, he didn't. Forest would have been a perfect game for him to kind of get a goal, get the confidence going again. He doesn't look to me a guy that is short of confidence, by the way. I just feel he's dropping deep a little bit too much. At times, I prefer him to be ahead of the play rather than behind it. What was your observation of Gabriel Jesus this week?
Right, look, watching it firsthand this time. There were times he dropped deep. Yes, I agree with you on that. My only sort of comeback to that will be the same again, though, is even though he does drop deep and get involved in play at times, he again, if you go through every single game he's played in, he's had 2, 3, 4 chances. It's not like he's not in the box getting chances, is it? So that doesn't really worry me because he is fundamental to the way we play. He gets involved with everything. He calls the centre backs untold amount of problems. He was a little guy like him, and you got Awoniyi up top being pocketed by Saliba, and this little guy was causing mayhem at the back. Yes, he's missed chances. My opinion of him is this: from my own personal opinion, from what I've seen, is he is lacking confidence in front of goal. It's bothering him. He's missed a few chances, and it's bothering him. I think he's got into his own head now a little bit, and he's second guessing himself in front of goal. The best type of Jesus you want is an instinctive Jesus that doesn't think about it. It's just happening for him. And he just, it's second nature for him to score. That was the difference of him at the beginning of the season. He was instinctive. He didn't have to even think about it. He saw the goal, he shot, it went in. He's missed a couple of chances, I think, 1-on-1 right now, whereas before you would have felt confident. He is lacking confidence. And he just needs a goal to go in. He needs one to go in, and then I think we'll be back on the run. That's my opinion with Jesus right now. But
Mo,
he even though he's not scoring, he is still undroppable at the moment. This is the way it is.
Yeah, I agree. Mo, is there an argument to say that we purchased Gabriel Jesus to score goals, not get involved in the build-up of play and effectively assist others? And he's not right now. He's not doing the job that we bought him for. Because in summer, we all agree that we needed a striker to come in and score goals. I think he's scored 5 goals this season.
Yeah, but he's got 10 goal contributions in 12 Premier League games. Now he's come in not just to score goals. He's come in to make sure the team scores. You could say that, right? And I think that's evident in his style of play. But I am worried that we're going to condition him in the role that we're requesting of him and in our coaching of him to become the next Lacazette. And I'm very worried about that. I don't think he's got the balance right at this current moment in time in terms of contributing all around the pitch and getting goals. And Arteta recently has actually come out and said that he does want more goals from Jesus and Nketiah. When was the last time one of our strikers scored? It's all good against Nottingham Forest at home when you're dominating them to, find the opportunities to score. But next week against Chelsea at Stamford Bridge, where it's not going all our way, you need your players to be there to help your creative ones, force them to make the pass, basically, to help them, to force them to make the pass. I'm in this position. You cannot ignore me. Give me that ball because it's a chance. And when Jesus is doing all the other work, he's not there to force them to make that pass. Now, I would love to have the benefit of video footage to do some proper analysis with, but I don't, right? We're not allowed to do that. So what I would say, if you've got the ability to do it, it's on Arsenal.com. If you've got a membership, go and watch around the 40th minute of the game. Now, Jesus works so hard and does so much good work that it's hard to criticize him. But actually, if you want to get to that next level, you do have to be somewhat hypercritical with your players. He's come as far back as our own goal line.
I remember that.
Yeah,
I remember that. He gave away the corner, didn't he?
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about,
He's come all that way back, and then he's actually tried to nutmeg a Nottingham Forest player at that point of the pitch in our own area. Hasn't worked. It's bounced off his legs, then hit Jesus, and then gone for a corner. Now, maybe I'm being harsh. Maybe he wasn't trying to nutmeg him. Maybe he was trying to play it off him. In either case, it hasn't worked. From that corner, I was looking at Jesus. He was bent down, like hands on his legs, blowing. Then from that corner, we clear it and we counter-attack. He's tried to join that counter-attack. He just can't. He's not sprinting. He cannot keep up with that counter-attack. And he's on the left-hand side. And I'm looking at him thinking, the frustration for me is that what you've done in defending that when you're on your own goal line, other players can do. But what you've done by not being at the front of that counter-attack, you're not doing what other players can't do. So it's more important that he understands his specialism within the team. And, for example, that finish on his debut where he just dug it out from underneath his feet, chipped it into that far corner, that sort of stuff. Not many players in our team can do that. But everyone can get a block in and can do that sort of like basic defending that he offers. So I want Mikel Arteta to speak to him, refine his role in the team a little bit more, and tell him to delegate on the pitch. Like, be vocal, tell other people to track, and you make sure you're standing between the posts, you're playing in that central element of the pitch, and making sure you're not just on the end of chances, because he still is on the end of chances even right now, like Lev pointed out, he's still getting the chances. So not just being on the end of chances, but on the end of more chances and forcing your creative players that feed you to play those passes into you. So it does need refinement. I don't want to see him become a Lacazette type.
This is exactly what I was saying last week.
Wait,
and
can I just interrupt? Dave Jordan has written in the comments criticizing players for working hard. Now I've seen it all. This is not a criticism. I actually said you can't criticize him because of how hard he works. But the criticism is, could you be working smarter? Anyone can work hard. Everyone can run around. Not that everyone does, so it does deserve some praise. But if you want to get to the highest level, you also need to work smart. And that's what I'm saying. He can put in just as much work with multiple movements to force players to play that pass because he's found space. So he can work just as hard, but he also needs to work smart. And right now is not striking that optimal balance of being a smart striker.
Yeah, this is, as I was saying, this is what I said last week and about 2-3 weeks before that I'm now beginning to see something in Jesus that I'm not liking, and that's him dropping too far back. And just to give an example of what exactly you just said, Mo, I used to have a football coach that used to tell me, always do your own job. Don't do somebody else's job, because you're leaving your own job to go and cover somebody, and then ultimately you're going to get blamed because you left your position. In this case, Gabriel Jesus has come all the way back basically on a corner line, and he's defending. Now, that's great. Dropping back, helping a team out and all of that, fantastic. Had that not gone out for a corner, right? Gabriel Jesus has won the ball, right? And he's played a pass. So just imagine where he is, exactly next to the corner line, right? So he's played a pass to Granit Xhaka or Thomas Partey, who were just in front of an 18-yard box. who they supposed to play at 2? Because now Jesus is all the way back then. You got Martinelli wide, Saka's on the other side, and there's nobody in front of them to play with and and play the ball through. So then that goes back to the point that I was taught before with my football coach. I said, never leave your own position and your own responsibility to go cover somebody else, because you'll be in a position where you've gone and done something really good, fantastic, right? But you left your position and essentially what you're there for, and you kind of not let the team down, but you're not affecting the team in a correct manner. So this is my concern with Jesus. He does put in shifting. No, yes, fantastic. Puts in hard work, yes. Track back, yes. All of that, fantastic, right? But we purchased this guy to start banging in goals for us. And again, I don't want to see him get involved in the build-up and start, bringing everybody else into the play and all that. No, I want him to be right up there, ahead of the game, and finish chances off.
I'm not so worried. I'm not so worried about him dropping back. I'll tell you what. I do understand what you guys are saying. Yes, you want him to be fresher in front of goal. That I get. But at the same time, how do we know it's not Arteta expectations? How do we know it's like?
Surely, Lev, he can't be
wait.
Corner line and defend.
Listen, I'm not.
Go on.
If you see something, maybe he's been told. If you see something and there's a spare man or they push someone extra up, then maybe do that. I'm not saying do it all the time. I agree with what you guys are saying, but the one thing I will say is he's getting 3-4 chances a game, and they're clear cut. They're clear cut, and I don't care what anyone says. He didn't miss those chances due to fatigue. He's missing those chances due to just lack of confidence right now. Where a more confident striker can pick his spot and do it, he's just rushing these shots, trying to get them on target. He's trying too hard. That's my opinion. But
Lev, can I ask you something?
Yeah.
Would you take him on his current form to World Cup?
Well, listen, it's a difficult one because they're so blessed, like with forward players at Brazil, aren't they? So I mean, all right, would someone like England take him to the World Cup? 100% they'll take him.
No, Brazil.
But Brazil, it might not, maybe not. Maybe he needs to get back on the, that might be something else playing on his mind. Maybe he's thinking, I need to be scoring. He's putting too much pressure on himself. You've got to consider that as well. It'll be sad for him to miss out because the way he started the season, everyone was lauding him up. The way he started the season, he could, if he carried on that way, he'd be going to the World Cup.
I hope they don't. I mean, I'm sorry. He wouldn't appreciate kind of a meant to be a supporter saying this, but I absolutely hope they don't. I want him to be as fit as a fiddle. Let Richarlison go. Let Anthony go, as far as I'm concerned, and Firmino and the like.
He's still young, isn't he, Mo? So he's gonna have other World Cups, isn't he, Gabriel?
I think it's ridiculous. Look at the names that I'm mentioning: Firmino, Richarlison, Anthony. They can all go, and for Jesus not to be going, I wouldn't swap any of them for Jesus. Jesus yesterday got 2 assists, should have got 3, and does really, really good work. Yes, the finishing in recent days or recent games rather has not been there, but I think it's been brilliant for Arsenal. I absolutely love the guy. I think he's been brilliant. And actually, I don't put the blame on him. I put the blame on the role that he's being asked to do. Mikel Arteta doesn't come across to me as a manager that doesn't have control over what his players are doing. He seems to be very controlled in terms of the system. So when I see Jesus doing all of that stuff, for me, that's part of Arteta's system. And if it wasn't, I'd see Arteta on the touchline going crazy at him, going, get there. But he doesn't do that. So for me, I'm asking the manager here to refine his role. Jesus is in the clear for me.
If what Lev is saying is correct, that the guy is lacking a bit of confidence, would him not going to the World Cup contribute even more to that?
Potentially.
I know it's a difficult. I'm just trying to play both sides here. Both sides of the argument.
But the World Cup, it can be, it can be a blessing or a curse. If his confidence is low and he goes to the World Cup, he's going into the World Cup with low confidence, a lot of pressure being in the Brazilian national team. And if he messes up, if he is the one to cause, them to not succeed in that World Cup, or if he has a bad World Cup and gets dropped and someone else comes in and does well, it's not going to do his confidence any good. I'd rather if we're talking about his confidence and protecting his confidence, I wouldn't want him to have the jeopardy of, there's probably no greater pressure in world football than being part of that Brazilian national team and at a World Cup. So I'd rather he comes back and he's with top of the table Arsenal where things are going well and rebuilds his confidence there rather than the lottery of Brazil national team.
Well, hopefully that will be the case. So we've now entering November. Top of the league, not even a single Arsenal fan can speak to me and say I expected Arsenal 1st of November to be top of the league.
Yeah.
No, I would not believe anybody would have expected Arsenal to be where they are.
No.
We've got 2 more league games, which are Chelsea away and Wolves away. So we're not really going to play at Emirates again, except an AFL Cup until after World Cup. And then, obviously, it's the World Cup, and then we come back in Boxing Day, Christmas, and transfer window opens. Now, that puts Arsenal in a tricky place. And then I'll go back. I think that puts us in the exactly same place we were last season, January transfer window, where last season, had they purchased 1 or 2 players we needed, we probably would have finished in top 4. And they didn't. We didn't subsequently finish in top 4. What are you looking to see from Arsenal this transfer window, in January transfer window? And we've got Wolves and Chelsea away. I mean, Wolves away is not going to. It's not the same Wolves that it was last season or the season before. I think I can see us beating them away. Chelsea away is the only tricky one that is left. And I cannot personally praise the team as a team, not in any individual, that includes manager, highly enough for what they have done so far this season is beyond anybody's expectation. So a massive pat on the back goes out to all of them. But we're looking at Chelsea away. That's going to be a difficult game now because Chelsea at home and Chelsea away are a totally different team. I watched Brighton against Chelsea and Chelsea were rubbish. Brighton were really good, but again, Chelsea was really, really poor. But Chelsea at Stamford Bridge is a different team.
Can I ask you a question, team? Where do you think Chelsea rank in the home league table? They're playing Arsenal at home at Stamford Bridge. Where are they in the home league table?
Honest answer is I don't know.
What would you guess? What would your guess be?
7th, 6th.
Lev?
When you say home league table, you mean wins like at home?
So basically, it was just taking home form league table.
I would put them probably near the top. I'd put them near the top.
They're 11th.
Are they really?
11th.
Wow.
It's very surprising. You know, Brighton are 10th. Aston Villa are 12th. And it's very, very surprising. But Chelsea are being quite hit and miss, actually. At home.
They are being hit and miss. Yeah. And they're the only big task that is left for us to play with until after World Cup. And we would have played Chelsea, Man City, Man United, Tottenham, and Chelsea would have played all the big boys.
Yeah. And Wolves are 18th, by the way. So when you look at that, you think to yourself, hold on a second, Arsenal are playing teams here that aren't, excelling at home. And a long time has passed from the days where people would say, well, who have Arsenal played? Like Shane has just said, we're going into kind of the break of the season now in a very, very strong position, and we would have played all of these big teams. So it's looking very good for Arsenal.
So let's start with that Chelsea away. Just before we go into it, guys, please make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to Arsenal Lounge, subscribe to Mo's channel. Please help us comment, obviously, on a video if you're watching this on a replay, and let us know your thoughts on the discussion. People who are watching, please let us know where you're watching from, and obviously, as I said, hit the like and subscribe. What's your thoughts on this Chelsea? I'll start with Lev, actually, because he's a Chelsea boy. So we'll start with Lev, what's your thoughts on this Chelsea away game?
I've been trying so hard not to laugh because like someone's in the chat. Right. Well, I thought he was also asking about the January window and what we want to see as well. So I mean,
Yeah.
On that particular subject, very quickly first. Personally, I'd like to see 2 come in. Right? Do I think we're going to bring 2 in? I don't know. I personally, I want to see someone who's a forward to add more goal threat, get us more goals, contribute more goals. Either if a striker ideally, but they've been looking at a wide person that could get goals as well. I think Mikhailo Mudryk is someone that we've been looking at heavily. There's been a Football London. I think Sam Hill's Football London said that basically in his recent article that we're going to go into head-to-head battle for Mudryk against City, who also want him. So that looks like someone we're looking at. There's Facundo Torres, I think it's pronounced, from Orlando City, who's apparently Brazilian. He's a wide forward as well. That we might be looking at bringing him in, but he's a nobody. I'm not sure that's for now. And then obviously, yeah, that's what I want to see. I want to see a Danilo type midfielder brought in. But the Chelsea game, do you know what? I'm confident about the Chelsea game. I'm not convinced with them at all. I know Graham Potter's gone in and he's kind of improved results a little bit, but they got an absolute spanking against Brighton. Like it was just they got torn apart. They were beaten. You know, they were outworked. They were outfought. I think we're going to cause a lot of problems for them. I really do. I think we're going to be stronger than them in midfield. They don't really. I mean, obviously, it's the Aubameyang thing. That's the only thing I worry about is that we have a history that every time we sell a player, he comes back to haunt us and get a goal. That's the one thing I do worry about. But it's the first time I would say I'm actually confident with Arsenal going to Stamford Bridge. So
we've always done well at Stamford Bridge, to be fair.
Yeah, but no, in the recent years, Chelsea had the upper hand with us, didn't they? But I don't know. I just think the tide's turned a little bit, and I'm not 100% convinced with Chelsea at all at the moment. So I'm confident. I'm expecting a win.
Mo?
I think we'll get a draw away at Chelsea. The thing is, right, Arsenal did, I'm very happy to say, what big teams do when they get beat and they don't perform well. So Arsenal against PSV, we were awful, frankly awful. And we deserved to get beat. We got beat. And then it's all eyes on that team. How does a big club respond? We battered the next team we played. Now, Chelsea, the last Premier League game, lost 4-1 to Brighton, 2 own goals. They were awful. And there will have to be a response. There's no point in them producing that response in their last Champions League game. I think it's Dynamo Zagreb at home. No one's going to look at that and say, there's nothing riding on it. If qualification was riding on it and they came out and smashed it, then fine. There's nothing riding on that. They're going to be looking to put right that Brighton result against Arsenal. That's the sort of game where people turn around and say, okay, they've made a statement here. So, it's unfortunate that they got battered. I'd rather they would have lost against Brighton 2-1 and not felt all of that heat than get battered 4-1 and then the next game is us. They're going to have the luxury of resting all of their players because they've got nothing riding on their game against Zagreb. We've got Zurich. We're going to have to rest. We're going to have to play some of our decent players to just guarantee top spot to avoid a potentially extra round of fixtures in the Europa League with the teams that drop down for the Champions League. All of those reasons, I think, unfortunately, we're not going to get the win, and it'll be a 1-1 draw.
Okay. Should we talk about the predictions for this game as well whilst we're at it?
Yeah. What did I pick?
So far, this is the prediction table now. This is the updated one. So Lev is ahead on 20 points. Mo is 16. Tom is 16. I'm on 14. We predict last week. Everybody got a point for the Forest game. You all didn't get anything. I got 1 point for the PSV game.
Yeah.
Well done.
So, huh?
Well done.
Thank you.
And typical Shaheen, again, has gone for Chelsea to win.
Yeah.
Just how he went for PSV to win.
That's it. Out him.
Exactly.
Yeah, well,
Disgusting.
so let's do this. Let me get the predictions out. Who's got? Does anybody got it, or should I?
I've got. I went 2-1 Arsenal, didn't I?
Yep, you went 2-1 Arsenal. Shaheen went 2-1 Chelsea. Tom went 3-1 Arsenal, and I've gone 1-1.
Yeah. So Mo's gone for a draw. Lev has gone for 2-1 Arsenal win. Tom has gone 3-1 Arsenal win, and I've gone for 2-1 Chelsea win. The Europa League one, Lev has gone for 3-0 Arsenal win. Mo has gone for 2-0 Zurich win.
What?
Yeah, you've gone 2-0 Zurich.
No,
Tom
no,
has
I
gone
don't think I've done that.
4-0
I think
Zurich,
I've
and
gone
I've
2-0
gone
Arsenal.
for 3-0 against Zurich. So that is
So
the prediction.
So wait. Mo and Tom both went for Zurich.
That's
No,
absolutely not the
against
case.
Zurich. Against Zurich. 3-0
You said
Arsenal.
3-0 Zurich, 4-0
Have I,
Zurich.
did I say that?
Yeah,
My
yeah, you
apologies.
did, you
3-0
did.
Arsenal win against Zurich, and 4-0 Tom said against Zurich. But for the Chelsea game, Mo's gone for a draw. I've gone for Chelsea win, and you and Tom have gone for an Arsenal win.
Yeah, I've
I
gone
wonder
for an
what people
Arsenal.
in
I've
the
gone-
comment. If you let us
I've
know,
gone-
people on the chat, what you guys thinking as well, that'd be brilliant. So
Sweet
that is
Sweet
the
Munchkin's
prediction.
in the chat, by the way. I'm just letting you know. She's in there somewhere. She was sending you messages. Anyway, go on.
Fucking hell, Lev, man. This is a serious podcast, man.
Sorry, man.
Do not fuck about. Anyway, can I ask you guys a question? If we have another Vlahovic scenario with this, was this guy that you said, Lev? I don't know. I don't know how to say his name.
What?
The guy who's for Shakhtar Donetsk.
Mudryk.
Oh, yeah, it's Mikhailo Mudryk.
Right. If that turns into another Vlahovic scenario where we all hung up on him right up to end the transfer window, and then we end up signing nobody, what would you still be? Because that's exactly what happened last season.
I'm going to come straight out and say I'd be very disappointed because it will show a lack of ambition. Where we are right now, we should have learned from last season. It cost us last season that we didn't add when we had the chance. Had we got Bruno Guimaraes, for example, when Newcastle got him, we could have ended up 4th place, right? We missed opportunities to strengthen. This time is different. This time we're top. And you know what? It's evident. We've had a few signs that we are a bit threadbare. Europa has really highlighted that for me. When we play a different side, a second string, we look a lot more susceptible at the back. We look like we could concede. We don't have the same fluidity. We need that should really say to him. And I'll be surprised if Arteta doesn't want this. If it doesn't happen, I don't think it's going to be down to Arteta. Having seen a lot more of him now and understand him as a manager, I would think he will be saying we need to strengthen up top, and we need a wide attacking player, whatever it is, and we need somebody to cover Thomas. Because look, we're playing him on a Thursday and then we play him on a Sunday. How long is it going to continue before something happens to him? We need him. If we lose him, we're in trouble. So we need to strengthen.
We do need to strengthen, and last season's gamble with what we did in January still lives with me, but I'm actually a bit unsure, like where to prioritize here, because I feel like if Xhaka or Partey get injured, we suffer. I think Lokonga, when he's come in this season, hasn't, and fair enough. Why would he be able to live up to that high standard? Because he's quite a young, inexperienced player. But then equally, Nketiah, when he's come in, hasn't done enough for me. And I do think we need more in that sense. So I don't know which one to prioritize. I'd love it if we get both. And talking about a player like Mudryk, for example, he looks sensational. He looks like he's going to be a star in the future. Absolutely. Looks so pacey and direct and exciting. But do we need another wide forward, or do we need a proper striker? And that's the other question that I have, because even Reece Nelson, I don't know, people in the chat, let me know. With what Reece Nelson showed us yesterday, are you just saying, no, look, that's one, not even a full game, It's against Nottingham Forest. You can't read into that. Or are you kind of saying, actually, do you know what? Maybe there's a new lease of life there. And how are we feeling about Marquinhos? Are we saying, actually, maybe he could be relied upon? Maybe he could come through? Or are we saying, forget Reece Nelson. We can't rely on Marquinhos. We need to go inside Mudryk. And if we do need to do that, then are we prioritizing that over a striker? Are we prioritizing that over a midfielder, a central midfielder? The way I see it, we're comfortable defensively. We've got good enough covered defensively. Tomiyasu, White, Tierney, Zinchenko, and then in the middle, Saliba, Holding, Gabriel, and even White can go in there. That, I think, brilliant cover defensively. Goalkeeper is another issue. We're focusing on all of these things, and then I always say, if Ramsdale gets injured, Matt Turner's been okay, to be fair to him, when he's come in, but I don't think he's ever really been tested either. So I'm a bit nervous because if someone said to me, let's go get a goalkeeper, I absolutely see the importance of that. But I think in the course of our season, maybe getting a striker who's a better backup to Jesus, for example, might be more beneficial to us. It'd only be worth getting the goalkeeper if Ramsdale actually does go and get injured. If that doesn't happen, then might as well go get the midfielder or the striker or the winger. I'm torn. I'm so torn. I need people in the chat to give me the clarity that I can't quite figure out for myself right now.
Okay.
I mean, look, Turner looked all right in his last game in the Europa, to be fair to him.
Yeah, but
he had a really good game.
Yeah, but listen, I'll give you an example, right? Fabio Vieira came on against a couple of teams and he looked really good in Europa League, right? Then he comes on against Forest at home, which is a little bit different type of game. It's a bit more physical, a bit quicker, and he struggles, right? We have not played any. I don't want to be disrespectful for other teams. We have not played any proper teams or a difficult challenge in Europa League. So that remains to be seen. How would these guys, or comes next round of the European League, how would these guys react to playing a better caliber of a team and a bit of a more difficult challenge? How would they fare? But I agree more. They haven't been tested properly. But then again, you can only beat what's in front of you, and they've done well so far. I'm going to ask you guys a yes or no question.
No.
Do you think
we do this
Arsenal,
every time?
You guys done, yeah?
Yes.
Do you think? Yeah.
No.
Do you think Arsenal would address all the proper areas that needs to be addressed in January transfer window? No. Or they will make at least one proper signing?
How are you meant to answer that with a yes or no? Because you kind of went.
So yes,
are we going to address?
Do you think?
Yeah, but one's not addressing it. One's not going to address the problem, is it?
Hey, I'm asking for a yes or no.
No.
No. But so it's a no. That's your one word. But what?
No.
Mo, you understand what I'm saying, Mo, don't you?
Shaheen, in your mind, what would be addressing it? What are we saying yes or no to? Give us like something to work with here. Is it a striker and midfielder?
I'll rephrase the question. Do you think in January transfer window, Arsenal will sign at least one, I wouldn't say world class, but like top-notch player that we need?
Oh, that's a different question. One, I think so, yes.
Mo?
No.
I'm with Mo. That's a no. That's 2 no's, 2 years. I don't know what Tom would say.
So then are we saying, let me just get this straight then. So how would you feel if it is a no and we don't? Are you not going to be disappointed?
I'm gonna be terribly vexed.
Ooh. Really?
Terribly vexed.
Terribly vexed.
Yeah, because
so wait, then tell me this, yeah?
I'm looking at this. Hold on, Mo. I'm looking at this and I'm thinking again,
terribly
what are these guys are on about? What sort of opportunity needs to be provided in order for them to grab it? Last season, it was the top 4, and we let that fly by. Now, it's a guaranteed top 4 and maybe a shot at the title, and you're still passing that on. So I would then actually question I have to question the owners and the management, the recruitment team, which is Edu, Vinay, Mikel Arteta, and Richard Garlick, that do these guys actually want to do this or not?
But there's also what's available in January. We've got to remember
Listen,
that. Right?
that argument has left a long time ago. If you want a player, you go and you put the money, you get him. This Brazilian guy went for Newcastle, Ramirez. He went on January. Why couldn't we get him? What you think he would have picked Newcastle over Arsenal?
No, listen, I was annoyed. Because it was rare that in a January window, some good players were available. And
There's always
discussion.
Vlahovic went in January.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. It's usually quite rare in January that good players are available. Danilo is one. I think his contract's coming to an end. Trossard is another. His contract's coming to an end in the summer. Those are two viable options. If we got those two, would they be good enough? I think Danilo would be. Yeah, but would you be happy if those two came in?
Yeah, of course I would be. But
well, they're gettable.
I'll be happy with one, man. And knowing Arsenal, listen, knowing Arsenal and how we are in January transfer windows, right? I would be happy with one top-notch player. And I'll prefer a winger, to be honest with you, or a second striker to Jesus, because I don't think Eddie Nketiah is gonna do anything that is gonna make a difference to what's occurring, especially if Jesus is not scoring goals. You need a second striker to come in.
Yeah, I do think that is an area of concern, because if Jesus isn't scoring goals and we need to make him think, oh, my place might be under threat, and have that good, healthy competition, I don't think he necessarily feels that pressure from Nketiah.
That might change things, Mo. If you get another striker that comes in and Jesus is looking at it and be like, you know what, fuck going back and defending, fuck getting everybody to get involved. I'm going to score goals now, because if I don't score goals, my man is going to come in. So
but not just that. You've got the option of playing Jesus out wide if he's not scoring, if you've got another striker as well. So you still get Jesus' work rate
when he was in Man City,
and you still get his threats. Yeah, so you we did say this when we didn't think that Eddie was going to be a strong enough backup. I agree with you guys. If they've got ambition, they should go for it in January.
So Shaheen, you want to see one big player come in? What position would you prioritize?
It's a difficult one, but
it is a tough one.
I would go for either a second striker or a winger. I wouldn't go for midfield or anything like that.
All right, so you'd only go for a forward player.
So you go for an attack.
Unless you can go to like someone like Aston Villa and say, listen, Douglas Luiz, talk to me. He's got 6 months left. I can get him for something like that.
He's that good, but anyway.
Yeah.
No. I'm just saying.
Listen, man.
I'm not forget about player. I'm talking about.
He's just signed a new. He's just signed a new contract, hasn't he?
Has he?
Yeah, I've heard he has. That's what I've heard.
Is it? I don't know if he has or not. But I'm just saying, unless it's that sort of a player where you can get a decent player that is on the last year of the contract or something. But I would, because listen, we all saying central midfielder, this, that, the other, right? Now, God forbid, I don't wish this on anybody or any player. Yeah. Imagine if Jesus gets a serious injury, he's out for 2 months. We're fucked. Because Eddie Nketiah is not going to do anything.
Yeah,
I think remotely close to what is needed. And then we're all sitting here thinking, we don't have anyone to finish.
Yeah, I think Lokonga and El Neni are better backups than Nketiah is, because they'll be 100%. Playing alongside another central midfielder, whilst that striker job is sort of you're the striker, and I think for that reason we do need a better bit of quality to replace.
The other one to look at, Zaha's contract ends in the summer as well.
Yeah, I think
really? Summer 20.
How
no, I don't think so. Listen, I think he's older than that. But you could have him for a season or two, definitely, and you're going to get him. He's Premiership proven. He's a handful up
29.
top. Yeah, he's a handful up top, right? He's an Arsenal fan. You'll probably get a good deal because the contract expires next year, 2023, in the summer. So, it might be something. You never know. It could be something that might be looked at. We've been linked with him a few times. I think listen, Let me ask you this: would you
it's
rather
29,
him,
man.
if you need a goal, would you rather him come on to play up top with Jesus or Eddie Nketiah?
Obviously him.
Yeah.
Well, there you
And
go.
listen, there's a lot of players I'd rather coming on than Eddie Nketiah. I never wanted Eddie to sign a contract. I think that was a good time for him to go away, find another club, get his career back on, get games, get minutes. But obviously, he thought £100,000 a week, good signing on fee. Fuck it, I'm going to stay here. A number 14 shirt, all cushy. I'm not going to get that anywhere else. Right? He stayed. Arsenal thought that, yeah, we give him. And people are all over him. Why? Because he scored 4 or 5 goals in 8 games. Whereas out of those goals, 2 or 3 of them was in one game. The other ones, it wasn't really great if you look at it in context. So now people are looking at it thinking, oh, maybe he's not that good. But you know what? There's quite a few people putting this on the chat. And I've been saying this for some time as well, that Arsenal, Usman has been saying this, and I know Arsenal Manik has been saying this as well. Porto has got an Iranian striker, Matic. I think he could do well coming in as a backup to Jesus. He's a different type of player. He's got that presence. He's good in the air, and I think he scored an overhead kick against Chelsea. That was goal of the season last season in Champions League, if I'm not mistaken, or the season before that. I don't think he's going to cost us an arm and a leg. He's playing in Porto, Champions League football, so. Some people are calling for Trossard, but as another thing I want them to consider is this: apart from Thomas Partey, we don't really have any height presence in our forward play. Odegaard is short, Vieira is short, Saka, Martinelli, Jesus. They're not really
Xhaka's
presence
tall
as such in a penalty where you can cross the ball in and they can get a header on it. So that's something that we need to consider, because sometimes if things are not happening, you need to maybe change it around, bring it different. Like, West Ham's got Scamacca, and I said that I like this guy. We should have signed him last. Imagine if we had him as a backup.
Yeah, we mentioned him. We mentioned him last year as well. Yes, he would have been all right. He would have been better than someone. Look, he's playing for the Italian national side. You don't play for the Italian national side if you're not good enough. So. There was chances. Oh, one other thing we haven't discussed before we go as well. Time's running out. Saliba's contract has been put in now. Apparently, we've officially offered him a new contract. It's on the table.
About time,
right? And we haven't heard anything yet. But oh my god, how good was he on? That guy caused Van Dijk so many problems against Liverpool. Right, and he's a handful usually, and he just made him look like there was never any time he was going to get him behind him.
Absolutely,
he was brilliant.
He's been fantastic. Since
Frank Leboeuf reckons he's going to be a starter for France. Frank Leboeuf says that because they've got Varane now injured as well now, and the one thing I was worrying about has started to circulate. Real Madrid are apparently putting something together to come in for him. Because he's a Real Madrid type player, let's be honest.
I would not be surprised at all. The guy does not listen. Premier League is not an easy league.
No,
William Saliba does not look out of place here.
No,
at all. Right? Very comfortable, very assured, very young, and he's putting performances in Premier League that are very assured, comfortable on the ball, calm, and it's obvious that big teams will start to look at this. And I hope that those figures on that contract are high enough for him to sign. And if it's not, they better make it high enough. Because I'll tell you something, if you offer in £100,000 to Eddie Nketiah, you should go all guns out blazing to get William Saliba to tie.
And I hope that he doesn't harbour any bad feeling in terms of the way he was treated at the start. I hope there's no grudge there from his point of view.
I hope so too. Anyway, we've been doing this for 1 hour and 10 minutes. So, Lev, it's not funny anymore, man. Just
it is.
Right?
It is.
Not, man. I don't find it funny anymore. So let's leave it. Guys, thank you very much for joining us. Please make sure you hit the like, subscribe to Arsenal Live, subscribe to Mo's channel. Hopefully we can get. I predicted a loss at Stamford Bridge, but hopefully we can get a win. And we can end the season, not a season, we can end this thing before World Cup on a high and end on top of the table. Lev, final thoughts?
I think I'm in trouble. That's my final thoughts.
No, man, it's not. It's just
I just
move on, man.
Listen, anyway, listen. Long may it continue. Hope we do. You know, we do really well. We've got Zurich next. We want to win that one. Finish top. Then we've got the big one against those boys. We need to win that game against Chelsea. Thank you, all you guys in the chat that been really active in it. Please make sure you subscribe if you haven't already, and please smash the likes. Come on, don't be stingy with the likes, yeah. And that's it. And thank you for Mo for coming and sort of sharing his opinions on the game.
Yeah, and listen, do hit that like button, please. And Shaheen, look, I'm a very honest guy. I say it how it is. It is funny. It just is. I'm sorry, but it just is. You might not find it funny, but we do, and I think a lot of people in the chat do, and we'd like it to, we'd like to continue exploring this and seeing where it could go.
I'm not so sure if I'm behind all of this. It was funny, once, twice, but
I'm not being funny.
All of a sudden, you see like 3 or 4 people making up names and coming in the chats and writing shit.
I'm not being funny. She's been in the chats since the beginning of the show. And if you watch this show video back, you'll see me laugh. We try not to laugh. Yeah.
If you pay attention, Lev. If you pay attention, don't just look at it. You see, there's like 3 or 4 different profiles with different pictures.
Well, do you know what? I appreciate all of our viewers, and I appreciate them getting involved in the chat and in the engagement. And perhaps Shaheen, you need to show a bit more love and appreciation for.
No, I love people when I always attract people when they comment, but sometimes, no, I don't get involved. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for being with us and giving us your time on this wonderful, rainy. Happy Halloween to everyone as well, by the way.
Happy Halloween.
Wonderful time wherever you are. And we'll see you next week, Monday. Have a wonderful evening. Oh, Wednesday, what's happening, Lev?
Wednesday. Albert J from Albert J TV is doing Wednesday's show. It's called Midweek Peak, Arsenal Midweek Peak. He'll be on at 6:30 this Wednesday, I believe. Keep your notifications on for it with Mr. Lee Judges himself. So put that in your calendar, guys.
Very good.
That sounded really dad-like. Put it in your calendar, in your Filofax.
All right. Guys, have a wonderful evening. See you soon.
Take care.